I personally believe, because I am someone who grew up with all of the spiritual stuff, I am the quote unquote crystal girly that Matt Rife hates. It's become so annoying that people do blame everything on astrology. And I want to be clear when I say I think it's absolutely ridiculous when people blame everything on astrology. I'm not talking about how technology gets glitchy during certain parts of Mercury retrograde, depending on what else is going on astrologically. I'm talking about when people specifically use their sun sign as a excuse for their bad behavior, or using someone's sun sign compared with someone else's sun sign as why you won't date that person. I'm an Aries. Obviously, I'm impulsive and passionate. No. You just can't regulate your emotions and have any sort of impulse control. Woohoo! The other one is Leo's saying, well, I'm a Leo. Of course I love being the center of attention. So that means that you are allowed to wear a white bridal dress to someone else's wedding? No. Absolutely not. It's become so annoying that people do blame everything on astrology, which I take such great offense to, as anyone who basically fakes or jumps on a bandwagon of any teachings or followings that are fundamental to people, that shape people, very much like a religion. I want to add on to the comment about it being compared to a religion, because in ancient Greece, when it was utilized heavily in daily lives, it influenced people's personal lives. They went to astrologers if they had a big decision to make to help with their finances. It was infused in politics. So when people are astrologers who study astrology, my father, who lived and breathed through astrology, would do astrology for friends, family, or he would get paid to do it for clients who needed help in their love life or their finances, or wanted to know what was going on with the planets and what decisions to make or what to put off, especially if they were big decisions. For example, JP Morgan, who is the founder of JP Morgan Chase, so a very wealthy and influential man of his time, said, millionaires don't use astrology. Billionaires do. There is a reason for that, because people who truly study astrology and live by it is very similar to how people use their religions and their faith. But just like any other lifestyle or religion, you have posers who want to excuse their bad behavior or use their religion as a scapegoat. I'm talking about Andrew Tate and his disciple Sneeko suddenly becoming Muslim. I actually spoke with a very good friend of mine who is a practicing Muslim, and when I described all the events that led up to it and what they've been doing afterward, he said, you can absolutely have a past like that and convert to Islam as long as you are dedicated to continuing to better yourself and stick with the practices, and you will be forgiven for the mistakes you make along the way. But it doesn't sound like these guys actually are taking it seriously, which, yeah.
It just so happened the day I was editing this video that my friend I'm referring to, who is a devout Muslim, and I had our weekly phone call, and I double checked with him on what it means to practice Islam, and it is all about the intentions and what is in your heart. You can pretend and fake to the public all you want that you have left your bad behavior behind and that you have converted to Islam, but Allah knows your intentions in your heart, and that is what matters. That is all that matters.
Another religion that uses their faith to condone theirs and other bad behaviors, who have the audacity to call themselves Christians. However, they do everything but follow Jesus' teachings. Instead, they use the word of God to shame others for their sinful behavior, condemn people to hell while sitting on their high horse. these people who claim to follow Jesus' teachings are outside of Planned Parenthood protesting abortions when, interestingly enough, in the Hebrew Bible, a life begins when a baby takes their first breath. It's not at conception. They call gay marriage unholy, a sin against God, more than blasphemy, and of course they're going to hell for it. Yet, it is not referenced for same-sex relations between women, so why are the lesbians going to hell? And also, and correct me if I'm wrong, that passage was actually put in the Bible in the 1940s. It's not in the original text. Interesting. But I will tag Monty to see if she can correct me if I'm wrong.
My name is Monty. I'm a former alt-right Christian fundamentalist. I went to church twice a week for 25 years straight, only private Christian schools, studied theology independently at the behest of my father. I graduated from Liberty University and I studied theology in Israel.
And lastly on this quick list is lust in women in purity culture. When Jesus only referenced lust in men, I believe he said something along the lines of, if your eye causes you to lust, then gouge it out and throw it in a fire. These are the same quote-unquote Christians who say they follow Jesus' teachings, but they are against feeding the poor, loving thy neighbor, being kind to the stranger, especially if they are homeless or an immigrant or someone who doesn't practice their preferred faith in the United States, where there is separation of church and state. So when I say that people who jump on a bandwagon or are being fake when saying their astrology sign is their sun sign, but not knowing anything else, and then using their sun sign to allow for bad behavior, if not piss poor behavior, I mean it. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it is incredibly offensive to people who have studied astrology for years and years, for those throughout history who used it in their daily lives as not just a lifestyle, but as their faith in a way. You can watch my full video, or the channel is It's Me at Reese Lee. I hope to see you there.